Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be diving deep, as the name suggests, into the world of access control.
A world, a realm full of locks and keys and digital security.
Exactly. We'll be looking at a very fruitful partnership between Nonstop Locksmith, Whoo Intercom, and ZKTeco.
Three names I think a lot of our listeners will be familiar with.
Absolutely. And to help us unpack this collaboration, we have some excellent interview excerpts.
Yes, featuring Denise Badillo and Rodney Armstrong, both from Nonstop Locksmith, and Arturo Falk, the president of Whoo Intercom.
So for this deep dive, our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to uncover how these companies first connected.
Right.
How do they benefit their clients? What's driving their growth? And how important are strong relationships, in this business?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting case study in successful industry collaboration.
So let's start at the beginning. How did Nonstop even come across Whoo Intercom and ZKTeco?
Well, Denise and Rodney actually pointed to a specific event, ISC West, a few years back.
Okay.
A big trade show, for the security industry.
Right.
So it sounds like that was their first encounter.
The classic trade show meeting. You never know who you'll bump into.
Exactly.
So they meet at this trade show. Did they immediately jump into a huge project together?
Actually, no. Denise specifically mentioned they started with a small test.
Okay.
They tried out the Aura 12 intercom system. That's Whoo's software on ZKTeco hardware, just on a single small property.
Makes sense. Got to test the waters first.
Exactly.
So what made that initial test so successful?
They highlighted a few key things. The core functionality of the system itself, how easy it was to install, and the user-friendly software. Rodney was particularly enthusiastic about that. Really easy to use, simple to install.
Sounds like a winning combination.
Yeah, I think that initial success really built their confidence in the system.
And I'm guessing that little test led to much bigger things.
Absolutely. Arturo from Whoo Intercom actually mentioned that. They went from that small project, maybe 5 devices,
Wow,
to installing hundreds of devices per property. It became one of Nonstop's best-selling intercom systems.
that's some serious growth. So what kind of properties are we mainly talking about here?
Arturo noticed a trend early on, a lot of garden-style apartment complexes.
Okay.
He thought their pricing structure might be a factor. They don't have minimum subscription requirements.
Interesting. So it's more accessible for, say, smaller properties.
Exactly. It makes it more financially viable, especially for buildings with fewer units.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's dig into those garden-style apartments a bit more. Any specific examples?
Yeah, Rodney talked about their pilot program in Michigan. It was a success and led to even more projects with that same property management company.
Okay.
They went on to do installations in St. Louis, Missouri, and multiple projects in the Chicagoland area, around 100 panels each.
So this property management company, they really became a key client. Yeah. What else do we know about them?
They're nationwide. They buy and renovate properties.
Okay.
Which aligns with what Rodney said about Nonstop traveling all over the country for certain clients.
And Nonstop's role in all this goes beyond just the intercoms.
Right. Oh, yeah. They're part of the whole improvement model, providing a full security solution. Intercoms, access control, camera systems.
Wow.
Rodney even mentioned they sometimes set up the networks and manage IT for clients.
So they're not just selling a product, they're really integrated partners.
Exactly.
How do they handle such large-scale projects across so many locations?
Well, their team's in the mid-20s.
Okay.
So they've got good infrastructure, in-office support, field technicians, and they've got some clever solutions like using Wi-Fi antennas to support intercom systems in properties where maybe not every building has internet.
Smart thinking. And they're not just limited to the U.S., are they?
Nope. Denise and Rodney both mentioned they work nationwide and even in Canada.
It's an impressive reach. Okay, so we've seen how they started and how they've grown, but let's talk about the bigger picture, the business philosophy.
Yeah.
What's their core belief when it comes to doing business?
Arturo was very clear about this. Business is about relationships, not just transactions.
Not like that.
It seems to be a guiding principle for all 3 companies, but it's more than just words, right? What actions do they take to actually build those relationships?
Yeah, good point. How does Whoo Intercom specifically nurture those relationships with partners like Nonstop?
Well, they focus on empowering their integrators and resellers, helping them grow. One concrete example is their revenue sharing model.
Right.
Whoo Intercom actually shares a part of their service revenue with resellers like Nonstop.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is. It aligns their interests. Their success is tied together.
And we talked about it before, but that no minimum subscription pricing, that's got to be another big plus, right?
Huge. Both Arturo and Denise brought it up. It's a massive advantage for smaller properties, makes it much more affordable.
Right.
Especially with fewer units. Denise even said it's a super easy sell for them.
Simple, straightforward, no complicated calculations.
Exactly. And in the end, what matters most, both for residents and property managers, is reliability and ease of use.
A system that just works and is easy to figure out.
Absolutely.
So putting it all together, what's the big value proposition here? What are clients really getting?
Arturo used a great analogy. He compared it to Tesla, cost-effective hardware with a service fee that covers long-term support and updates over the air.
Interesting. So keeping the system up to date.
Yeah, always evolving.
And for Nonstop, how important is that recurring revenue side?
Denise said it's essential. It gives them predictable cash flow, which is huge for any business, increases their profit margins, and builds customer loyalty.
So it's a win-win.
Exactly. A more stable and sustainable business model.
But things change fast in the tech world, right?
That's your.
How do they keep up?
Shimon, from Nonstop stressed continuous education. They're always learning, exploring new technologies, like low voltage systems. And they really listen to their customers. Their needs are always evolving.
Makes sense. Stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Attend those expos, train their staff, always researching the best products. It's proactive.
So what about the collaboration itself between Nonstop, Whoo, and ZKTeco? What makes it tick?
Shimon highlighted a few things. Strong relationships, authenticity, clear expectations, open communication.
The foundations of any good partnership.
Right. And he also gave a lot of credit to Nonstop's team. They're really capable.
Okay.
Denise emphasized the importance of true partnership built on trust and shared values. It goes beyond just a vendor-client relationship.
It's a true collaboration. And how are they growing their business? Aggressive marketing or something else?
Shimon stressed organic growth. It comes from building strong relationships with both clients and vendors, leading to recommendations and repeat business. He also talked about training, making sure their staff understand customer needs and provide excellent service.
So building that trust and loyalty.
Exactly.
But let's be real. Things don't always go perfectly. Mistakes happen. How do they deal with that?
Shimon had a really insightful point. Customers understand that errors happen. It's how you resolve them that matters.
Right.
Promptly, effectively, transparently. That maintains trust.
It's about showing commitment, even when things go wrong. Okay, let's talk about Nonstop's clients. Who are they serving?
It's a really diverse group. Residential customers, commercial properties, developers, builders, data centers.
Well, the whole gamut.
And, of course, those property management companies we talked about.
So what's the most important thing for Nonstop in those client relationships? What's the core value?
Rodney put it simply, trust. Clients need to trust that Nonstop will deliver quality products at reasonable prices.
Especially in the security industry. That trust is paramount.
Absolutely.
And you have so many stakeholders, right? Owners, managers, residents, visitors. How do they balance all those needs?
It's a balancing act. Visitors need a system that's intuitive. Residents need reliability and security. Property managers need a partner they can trust and a system that's easy to manage.
Right.
And from Whoo Intercom's perspective, their resellers, like Nonstop, need support to be successful.
Okay.
Arturo specifically mentioned how they help with installations, quotes, demos, all that. So Nonstop's equipped to meet everyone's needs.
And it sounds like that user-friendliness is a big selling point, especially for property managers.
Yeah. Denise said they always get positive feedback about how easy the interfaces are to use.
Even for someone without a tech background.
Exactly. Low learning curve, efficient management.
So with all the options out there, why do they choose Whoo Intercom and ZKTeco specifically?
They mentioned a few key reasons. Ease of use, both for installation and for the end user.
Okay.
Easy installation process, reliability of the hardware and software, positive customer feedback, and strong tech support from both companies.
Those are all pretty compelling reasons. It sounds like a real win-win-win situation. Everyone benefits.
It does.
So to sum it up, what's Nonstop Locksmith's value proposition? What are they bringing to the table?
They're a trusted partner, providing complete security solutions. They understand their clients' expectations and make sure their properties are safe, with excellent tech support. Denise talked about being a single source for all their security needs.
A one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And how does that collaboration between Nonstop, ZKTeco, and Whoo benefit the end users?
Denise described it as a seamless collaboration. The three companies work as one, focused on the user experience,
Okay.
whether it's a resident letting someone in or a property manager overseeing everything. And the system is flexible, adaptable to different needs.
That's a key point,
Yeah.
being able to customize. All right, that was a lot of information. Let's recap some key takeaways for our listeners.
All right, so the success of this partnership really hinges on strong relationships, genuine, mutually beneficial.
Right.
It's about understanding and meeting the needs of everyone involved, the residents, the property managers. The technology's got to be easy to use and adaptable, and the business model has to support growth for all parties.
And that no minimum subscription fee, that's a game changer.
It is.
So, listeners, you should now have a much better understanding of how these successful collaborations work in the tech and service industries.
It's all about trust, shared values, and a commitment to customer service.
We've also seen how valuable recurring revenue models are and how crucial it is to adapt to changes in the market.
And to leave you with a thought, consider the partnerships in your own field. What makes them work?
Right.
How can you apply these principles of trust and customer focus?
Yeah.
And what might happen if you challenge those traditional pricing models? Food for thought.
Absolutely. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. As always, thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.